You ever wake up one morning and realize you don't know where the mask ends and your face begins? Yeah, me neither. Not until last October. I was standing in the rain outside Buckingham Palace, watching a man in a red tunic and a bearskin hat stand so still that pigeons use his boots as a perch. And I swear to you, I watched him forget he was pretending that tea was one of those gray London afternoons that doesn't know if it wants to rain or just threaten you with it. The kind that seeps into your coat and stays there. I'd been in the city for 3 days. Solo trip. Broke. Running from a breakup that felt less like a breakup and more like a slow puncture. My sister said, "Go see the changing of the guard. It'll take your mind off things." So I went. Because that's what you do when your heart feels like a wet sponge. You look for something orderly, something rehearsed. The crowd was the usual mix. Tourists with selfie sticks. A school group from Manchester, all loud and bored. An old couple holding hands like they were afraid of losing each other in the crowd. And me, coffee in hand, hood up. We were all pressed against the black iron gates, waiting for the new guard to march in. The old guard, the ones already on duty, stood frozen at their posts. 4 of them, 2 at the main gate, 2 further down. That's when I noticed him. 3, build tension the one closest to the left pillar. Young, maybe early 20s, clean-shaven, eyes fixed on some invisible point in the middle distance. Textbook Royal Guard posture. Chin up, shoulders back, gloved hands resting on a rifle. But here's the thing. At first, I thought he was just good at his job. You know how some actors disappear into a role? Daniel Day-Lewis level? That was this guy. He wasn't just standing there. He was the guard. The uniform wasn't something he wore. It was something he'd grown. I watched him for maybe 10 minutes. The crowd shifted. A toddler dropped an ice cream. Someone's phone rang with that annoying marimba tune. People laughed. People argued. But him? Nothing. Not a blink. Not a swallow. His chest rose and fell so slowly I started timing it. 8 seconds in. 8 seconds out. A guy next to me, American, loud, wearing a baseball cap backwards, started waving his hand in front of the guard's face. "Hey," the American said. "Earth to soldier boy." No reaction. I read online they're allowed to yell at you if you touch them. The American said to his girlfriend. "I kind of want to get yelled at." The girlfriend rolled her eyes. "You're an idiot." And I laughed. Quietly. But I laughed. Then, something happened. The guard's eyes moved. Not much. Just a flicker, a tiny shift to the left. He looked at the American, not through him, at him. And for half a second, I swear, I saw something behind those eyes that wasn't discipline or duty. It was exhaustion, not the physical kind, the other kind, the kind that comes from wearing a face for so long you forget you have another one underneath. For climax, the American didn't notice. He was already walking away, bragging about how unbothered the guards were. But I couldn't look away. A few minutes later, the relief guard marched in. Drums. Boots. That slow, deliberate walk they do. The crowd cheered. Phones went up. The whole thing felt like a theater production, which I guess it is. The old guards were supposed to march off in perfect formation. That's the script. That's the performance. And for the first 3 guards, that's exactly what happened. Left foot. Right foot. Eyes forward. Ghosts in redcoats. But not him. When the command came, he turned. But he didn't march. He walked. A real walk. A human walk. His shoulders dropped half an inch. His chin came down. For a second, just a second, he looked like a 22-year-old kid who'd had a long shift and wanted to go home and take his boots off. A woman near me whispered to her husband, "Is he okay?" The husband said, "They're not supposed to do that." And then the guard did something that made my stomach drop. He stopped, right in the middle of the courtyard, 50 meters from a gate. He stopped marching and just stood there. The other 3 guards kept going. They didn't look back. They didn't hesitate. They were still in the performance. But he wasn't. He turned his head, slowly, like someone waking up from a dream, and he looked directly at the crowd. At us. At all the phones and the faces and the rain. And then, "I'm not making this up," he smiled. Not a big smile. Not a grin. Just a small, tired, broken thing at the corner of his mouth. Like he just remembered something sad and beautiful at the same time. A guard supervisor, a senior officer in a different uniform, rushed over. I couldn't hear what he said, but I saw his mouth move. Sharp, angry, the kind of whisper that cuts. The young guard's smile disappeared. His face went blank again. He straightened up. He marched off. But for those 3 seconds, he wasn't a guard. He was just a person, in a costume, in a life he didn't choose yet. 5. Resolution. The crowd murmured for a bit. Then they forgot. A street performer started juggling near the Victoria Memorial. The rain got harder. People put up umbrellas and moved on. I stayed for another 20 minutes, leaning against a lamppost, watching the new guards take their positions. They were perfect, flawless, robots in human skin. And I thought about that smile. I thought about how hard it must be to stand there for hours, not moving, not reacting, while the whole world treats you like a piece of furniture. I thought about how the uniform probably starts to feel like a second skin, how the act of being stoic becomes a habit, how habits become identities. I know a little about that. After the breakup, I told everyone I was fine. I said it so many times I started to believe it. I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. It was for the best. I rehearsed the lines in the mirror. I performed being okay, so well that even I couldn't tell the difference anymore. Until one night, I woke up at 3 a.m. and realized I couldn't remember what it felt like to actually be okay. Just the performance of it. 6. Ending line. I don't know the guard's name. I don't know if he got in trouble, or if he went back to his barracks and stared at the ceiling, or if he laughed about it with his mates over a pint. But I think about him sometimes. When I'm at a party, pretending to have fun. When I'm on a date, pretending to be interested. When I'm on the phone with my mom, pretending I'm not lonely. The line between acting and being doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes, one small surrender at a time. And the scariest part? You don't even notice it's gone until you catch yourself smiling at strangers in the rain. Document 02. The understudy title. The line between acting and being slowly disappears. Scene. Backstage of small theater, Southwark, London. Late evening. POV. Close third person. A stage manager named Clara. 1. Hook. The first time Leo forgot his lines, nobody noticed because he didn't say the wrong words. He just stopped being the character and started being someone else entirely. 2. Set up. The theater was called The Lantern. 60 seats. Damp smell. A stage so small the actors could touch both walls if they stretched. It was the kind of place where plays went to be born or to die, nothing in between. We were in the 3rd week of a production of A Seagull. Chekhov. Because, of course, small theaters love Chekhov the way sad people love rain. It just fits. Leo played Constantine, the tortured young writer. The role required him to be angry, fragile, desperate for love. Typecasting, if I'm being honest. Leo was all those things in real life. But he was also funny, loud, the kind of guy who'd do a backflip at a cast party just to make people laugh. I'd known him for 2 years. Stage manager and actor. We weren't close, but we were the kind of close that happens when you spend 6 nights a week in a dark room together. You learn things. How someone takes their tea, what they do during intermission, whether they say break a leg or murd or nothing at all. Leo always said, see you on the other side. Weird guy. 3. Build tension. The trouble started on Tuesday. Tech rehearsal. The director, a woman named Priya with eyes that saw everything, ran the same scenes 6 times. Constantine's monologue, the one about new forms of art. It's a long speech, 2 pages, all about how the old ways are dead and the new ways haven't been born yet. First run, fine. Second run, fine. Third run, Leo stumbled on one word. Melancholy came out as melancholy. He corrected himself. We moved on. 4th run, he stopped mid-sentence, stared at the back wall, then said sorry. What's the line? Priya gave it to him. He continued, but his voice was different, flatter, like he was reading a grocery list instead of confessing his soul. 5th run, he started crying. Not acting crying, real crying. The kind where your face crumples and you can't breathe. He put his hands over his face and just stood there, shaking. The cast went quiet. Priya said, Leo, you okay? He looked up. His eyes were red, but he was smiling. That same weird smile from the guard at the palace. Tired and broken and beautiful. I don't know who I am right now, he said. We thought he was joking. Leo was always joking. Someone laughed nervously. Someone else said, "Method acting, mate." But Leo shook his head, and he walked off stage. Not dramatically, just walked, like a man leaving a room he no longer recognized. 4. Climax opening night came 3 days later. The house was full, 60 seats, sold out. A miracle for a Chekhov play in Southwark. Leo was backstage, pacing. I was at the soundboard, watching him on the monitor. He looked fine. He looked like Leo. He did his vocal warm-ups. He stretched. He said, "See you on the other side," to the costume designer. Act 1. Smooth. Beautiful even. Leo's Constantine was raw and real. The audience leaned forward in their seats. You could feel it, that electric thing that happens when theater works. When the line between actor and character gets so thin you can't see it. Intermission. Leo ate half a banana, drank water, made a joke about the lead actress's wig. Normal. Act 2. The confession scene. Constantine brings a dead seagull to Nina's feet. He lays it down, and then he says the lines about being nothing, about having no talent, about wanting to be someone worthy of her. This is the heart of the play, the moment everything breaks. Leo walked to center stage. He held the fake seagull. It was made of foam and feathers, painted to look dead. C'est propre. We'd laughed about it during load-in. He looked at it. Then he looked at Nina, the actress, a woman named Jess. And then he dropped the seagull. Not a stage drop, a real drop, like his fingers forgot how to hold things. Jess stayed in character. "Constantine," she said. "What's wrong?" Leo didn't answer. He turned to the audience. He looked at them, all 60 faces, some confused, some curious. One old man in the front row had his mouth open. "I don't know why I'm here," Leo said. Not the line. Just try to save it. "You're here because you love me." Leo shook his head. "No, I mean here, in this building, on this stage. I don't know why I'm doing this anymore." The audience shifted. A woman coughed. Someone's phone buzzed. Priya, in the wings, whispered, "Get him off. Now." But I didn't move, because I saw something on Leo's face that I'd never seen before. Not on a stage. Not anywhere. Peace. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't embarrassed. He looked like a man who'd finally stopped pretending. "I've been playing this part for 3 years," he said. Still not the script. Still not Chekhov. Not Constantine. The other part. The part where I'm okay. Where I'm funny. Where I don't wake up at 4 a.m. wondering if any of this matters. Jess dropped character. "Leo, stop." But he didn't. "I don't know where the acting ends," he said. "I think it ended a long time ago. And I've just been going through the motions. Saying lines that used to mean something. Wearing costumes that used to feel like armor." He sat down, on the floor, right there in the middle of the stage, in front of 60 strangers. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't have the energy to pretend anymore." 5. Resolution. The light stayed up for an awkward minute. Then Priya signaled me. I hit the blackout. The curtain, what little curtain we had, fell with a sad squeak. The audience didn't know what to do. Some clapped, hesitantly. Most just sat there in the dark, waiting for an explanation that never came. Backstage, Leo was sitting against the wall, still in costume, still holding the foam seagull. He looked up at me when I walked over. "I ruined it," he said. "Yeah," I said, "because I don't lie." "You did." He nodded, like he already knew. "But also," I said, sitting down next to him, "you didn't." He looked at me, confused. "That's the most real thing I've ever seen on that stage," I said. "And I've seen a lot of fake crying." Leo laughed. A real laugh. Small, tired, human. "What do I do now?" he asked. I shrugged. "I don't know. Go home. Sleep. See if the person you are in the morning is someone you want to be." He stayed on that floor for a long time. The cast filtered out. Jess gave him a hug. Priya told him she wasn't angry, just disappointed, which, if you know directors, is worse. The audience left. The lights went off. I stayed until he got up. He took off the costume jacket, hung it on a rack, took off the boots, set them side by side. Then he walked out the back door into the alley. No coat, just his jeans and a t-shirt. It was cold. He didn't seem to notice. 6. Ending line, the Lantern closed 2 months later. Not because of Leo, just the usual reasons. Rent, audiences, the slow death of small things. I don't act anymore. I moved into lighting design, behind the scenes, where nobody asks you to be someone else. But sometimes during a show, I'll watch an actor hit a moment so honest it hurts. And I'll think of Leo, sitting on that floor, holding that fake bird. He sent me a postcard once, from a farm in Wales. No return address, just 3 words on the back. Found the other side. The line between acting and being slowly disappears. But maybe, just maybe, it's not a line at all. Maybe it's a door. And some people spend their whole lives afraid to turn the handle. And some people just walk through, in front of 60 strangers, with a foam seagull in their hands. Document 03, the interview title, the line between acting and being slowly disappears. Scene, a therapist's office, anonymous London suburb. Afternoon. POV, first person, a woman named Sarah, speaking to her therapist. 1. Hook, I don't know how to say this without sounding like I belong in a hospital. That's how I started. 3 weeks ago, in a beige room with a box of tissues on the table and a clock that ticked too loud. Dr. Patel didn't react. She just nodded, the way therapists do, like they've heard worse, like they've heard everything. 2. Set up the office was on the second floor of a converted house near Finsbury Park. I've been going for 6 months. Anxiety, burnout, the usual things people pay £90 an hour to talk about. But that day was different. That day, I wasn't there to talk about my job or my family or the panic attacks that hit me in the cereal aisle at Tesco. That day, I was there to talk about the voice. Not a hallucination voice. Nothing like that. Just a voice in my head that wasn't mine. A character I'd been playing for so long that she'd started talking back. Her name was Claire. 3. Build tension, I'm an actress. Not a famous one. Not even a working one, really. I do voiceover for corporate videos. Welcome to our annual safety training. Please ensure your workstation is ergonomically sound. That kind of thing. I also do community theater. And once, 3 years ago, I had a line in a BBC crime drama. The body was found near the canal. That was my line. I practiced it 400 times. Claire started as an exercise. My acting coach, a woman named Margaret who smoked like a chimney and quoted Stanislavski like scripture, told me to create a character so real that I could have a conversation with her. Write her diary entries. Know her childhood, her fears, her favorite song. So I did. Claire was a receptionist at a dental practice. 34. Single. Lived in a flat with a leaky radiator. She was kind but tired. The kind of person who says have a nice day and means it even though nobody ever says it back. I built her slowly, piece by piece. Her mother died when she was 12. Her father remarried a woman who didn't like her. She had a cat named Norman. She drank chamomile tea even though she hated it because she read somewhere it was good for stress. After a few months, I could become Claire in seconds. Draw my shoulders, soften my voice, forget my own name. Margaret said this was good. The mark of a true actor, she said. You've dissolved the ego. I didn't tell Margaret that Claire was starting to show up when I didn't call her. 4. Climax had happened on a Tuesday. I was at a bus stop, waiting for the 43. Normal day, normal gray sky. A man bumped into me, spilled his coffee on my sleeve. He apologized. I said, it's fine, normal. But the voice in my head, the one that usually sounds like me, didn't say anything. Instead, Claire's voice said he looked sad. His hands were shaking. I wonder if he's okay. I shook my head, told myself to stop. The bus came. I got on, sat in the back, and Claire kept talking. The woman across from me hasn't slept. Look at her eyes. She's pretending to read that book, but she's read the same page 4 times. I want to ask if she's okay, but I don't want to be weird. I tried to push her away, told myself she wasn't real. She was a character, a collection of made-up details, a costume I put on and took off. But she wouldn't leave. That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror. I looked at my face, my real face, the one with the tired eyes and the chapped lips and the small scar above my eyebrow from when I fell off my bike at 12. And I didn't recognize her. I said my own name out loud. Sarah. It felt like a lie. I said Claire. It felt like coming home. I sat on a bathroom floor for an hour. The tiles were cold. The fan made a humming sound. And I had the most terrifying thought of my life. What if I was never Sarah? What if I was always Claire, and I just forgot? 5. Resolution, that's when I called Dr. Patel. Made an emergency appointment. Told her I was having a breakdown. She said to come the next day. So there I was, in the beige room, telling a stranger that I might be losing my mind. Dr. Patel listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't write anything down. Just listened. When I finished, she said, "Can you tell me something Claire would say right now?" I almost laughed. Almost walked out. But I didn't. I closed my eyes, dropped my shoulders, softened my voice. And Claire said, "I think you're scared because you think being someone else means you're nobody. But it doesn't. It just means you have more than one self. And that's not crazy. That's just human." I opened my eyes. Dr. Patel was smiling. Not a therapist smile. A real one. "That's not a symptom," she said. "That's insight." We spent the next hour talking about identity. About how everyone performs. About how the receptionist at the dentist's office is playing a role too. The polite role. The competent role. The I'm fine role. Dr. Patel said something I'll never forget. She said, "The line between acting and being is only dangerous when you forget you're the one drawing it." She didn't tell me to get rid of Claire. She told me to make friends with her. To recognize that Claire was a part of me, not a replacement for me. It's been 3 weeks. I still do the corporate voiceover gigs. I still do community theater. And Claire still shows up sometimes. At the bus stop. In the mirror. When I'm lonely. But now when she talks, I don't panic. I just listen. And then I say, "Thanks, Claire. I've got it from here." 6. Ending line last night. I went to an open mic night in Hackney. Not to perform. Just to watch. A woman got up on stage and did a monologue about her mother's funeral. It was raw, messy, real. Afterwards, I went up to her and said, "That was beautiful." She laughed. "Thanks." I was terrified. "Couldn't tell," I said. She looked at me for a second. Then she said, "That's the thing, isn't it? Nobody can ever tell." I walked home through the city. The streets were wet. The lights were orange. And I thought about all the people in all the flats, all the houses, all the rooms. Performing. Every single one of them. The tired receptionist. The grieving daughter. The guard at the palace. The actor on the floor. We're all just walking each other home. In costumes we forgot we put on. The line between acting and being slowly disappears. But maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe that's just the moment we finally get to meet ourselves. For real this time.